What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Bands, and I'm back with another video. Yes, sir, ski. You know what I'm saying? And today we about to get into a video. This is Tommy G. I know Tommy be coming with the bangers, so we gonna be reacting to Tommy real quick, see what's going on with that. And yeah. How was y'all Christmas? You know what I'm saying? How was y'all break? You know what I'm saying? I was on shift. I was working. You know what I'm saying? Put in the good work. But we did have some good food on shift. You know what I'm saying? I rock with my people. That's my crew right there. I think I'm part of one of the best crews. I don't want to. I don't want to pull nobody on us, but you feel me? Any crew that got me is the best crew, obviously. I mean, come on, think about it, bro. But yeah, we about to get into this video. No kizzy. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's see. I hope I enjoy it. I mean, it's Tommy. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I do. See what's happening with it. Turn it down. That's Memphis? I heard Memphis be getting crazy, dog.
My name is Tommy G, and you might be wondering how I got here. Initially, I took a
this
road
guy's
trip to
editing,
Memphis where I was going to be working with a nonprofit called We Fight Monsters to cover a story on human trafficking. But my friend at the nonprofit, Ben Owen, said, well, if you're going to be coming to Memphis, you might as well meet my friend Johnny Carter. He does undercover drug busting. So of course I give Johnny a call, and like any true pal would, he invited me to a raid. You see, Johnny happens to be the director for West Tennessee Drug Task Force, so he has the pull to actually invite me to a raid where we'd also be meeting up with members of Memphis SWAT and other law enforcement agencies. Seeing as I've spent much of my career on YouTube covering the criminal side of the coin, I thought this would be an interesting opportunity to interview law enforcement and hear their story. And growing up as a bit of a pothead and rebel in high school, I've always had a little suspicion about police and authority, partly because I had trouble accepting that someone with a badge had the power to send me to jail for reefer, and partly because I was probably paranoid in my smoke-filled car. But as I've gotten older and lived in more sketchy neighborhoods, I've come to realize that good and accountable law enforcement is essential to a safe community. So in this episode, we get to witness a raid. I get to ask law enforcement all the sorts of questions you might also want to ask. And towards the end, good old Johnny has to draw his gun. But more on that later. This, folks, is inside an undercover drug bust. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Tommy. Yo. Look. Yo. Shimmer can.
TommyGMcGee.com. Welcome to the underworld, folks. Honey G.
On the what? Memphis, Tennessee. Ain't 6 a.m.? Now, why they get people so early? Like, well, I mean, I guess
6 a.m. in Memphis, Tennessee.
Me, I don't sleep though. I be up. You know what I'm saying? I don't sleep. I've been up for 45 days. You know what I'm saying? No sleep. Easy. All I've been doing is push-ups.
And this time we're gonna be interviewing the side that's raiding it. So I think we're gonna learn a lot. It's raining a bit here in Memphis, so I asked Johnny, are we still going in? Johnny said we're like the post office. It's rain or shine, they're gonna visit you. So, what's up, brother? Hey, what's going on, man? Good to meet you. All right. You guys get nervous for stuff like this?
ETF.
If that vehicle shows up to your house, you know you're.
That's a.
Drug
task force. Oh, I'm thinking
how many overall men you think will make this breach?
So
that's what I'm thinking.
One SWAT team that'll make the breach.
I don't know what it means.
Then once the SWAT team secures the house, everybody's in cuffs.
Tobacco firearms.
They've checked it. They'll do a secondary check. Then the search will start.
Do you get nervous before stuff like this?
Did it for 26 years. I still get nervous every day.
And do we know what we're hitting this guy for?
I get nervous on the guys.
How much we talking?
Ounces.
How much can I make off an ounce of fentanyl?
It's about $20 a button. A button's about 1/10 of a gram. About $5,600. It's a never-ending battle. It's a game of whack-a-mole. You knock one down and two more pop up.
$50 a button.
When you feel like fentanyl really entered.
What are we talking about right now?
As soon as the states and the government cracked down on prescription opioids, you had Big Pharma. They introduced the opioid pain meds. They introduced the pain scale. And they made pain a right in the hospital.
My shoulder almost
Doctors
came
were were giving it like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And then you had addicts that got addicted to it.
It's crazy hearing law enforcement acknowledge that Big Pharma is the root of a lot of the drug addiction issues in America. Yet when you look at things, not one executive has ever served prison time, and all these small dealers are getting busted. It speaks to a growing frustration with Americans that the white-collar criminals can get away with anything and get rich, and the little guys get 10, 15, 20 plus years.
Jeez,
and then everybody cracked down on it. They
boy.
did away with it. They're not prescribing it as openly as they used to. And, cartels, they pay attention to what's going on, and they adjust. They're a business. They're all about money.
They're all about getting to the chicken. Imagine if the cartel just transferred over into like plumbing.
So right now we're traveling in a convoy.
These guys will be getting it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm
Ron,
talking
how
about
many
they'll
men
probably
do you guys gonna
go
be
shut
on
off
top
your
with?
main
geez.
water and then
30.
have they business be the only one on
What
Google.
they'll do is they'll go in and secure. They'll do their initial entry.
Write that down. I
their
might just
initial
help you out
search.
real quick.
They'll get
You get a
everybody
phone call,
that's
you
out in the
charge them
open,
$3,200,
secured,
fix that
in
toilet.
handcuffs,
Know what I'm
and then
saying?
they'll do a secondary search for anybody that might be hiding, and then we will start the search.
Before we see
So
this
it's
raid, I
3
wanted to get
searches?
the scoop from someone who's been raided a few different times. This is Fila. He was a big Memphis drug dealer and OG back in the day, and this is his story.
The 90s. Dang, the 90s look good, actually.
I had this trap house over on Macklemore, and every night it was a party there, 7 days a week. It was coke, it was crack, it was seed, man, plenty of money, everything. I loved it.
Well,
So
I guess
one
coke
night
is
I was
bad
inside
too,
my
but-
business, and I knew the music up front be loud and everybody be partying, but I was
Jeez.
tired. I just had to get some rest. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was quiet, and I'm like, so I get up, and I walk out. My front door, the raw air door was wide open. Next thing I know, when I turn my back, bam! The cops. So they take me to the door, and I look out on the porch, and everybody that was in my house was handcuffed and laying face down on the ground.
Them boys move swift with it, though. Them boys on it.
There's a trap house right next to a sheriff's deputy.
Shelby
That's
County.
probably why they're not selling as much out of that house and going to other places.
Yes, they're at the front door. They're preparing to go.
So do they tell that officer, or is this just your own separate thing? Like, if I'm an officer and I live right next door, I would expect someone to let me know, right?
No, those are illegal now.
Probably for good reason, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think this is called Neighborhood Heroes, a
break in the
program where he probably paid
pick up the
dirt
door.
cheap to live in that house just to be the officer on the block. But I don't know, maybe it's not.
So he's not complying, or is he coming around?
Probably is.
So I really don't know at this point.
If there was going to be a shootout today, this is the
The
moment.
fart
where
that
it
I gotta
happened.
let go right now, hopefully you guys don't hear it.
For a tense minute, there was a standoff in which all guns were aimed at the house. Thankfully, the suspects decided to surrender peacefully, and after that, the SWAT team conducted their search.
So this is actually a female. That's our main target.
Ain't this where Sexy ran from? Ski!
Damn, can you imagine raining out, you're woken up at 6:20 a.m. in your underwear and you're taken to jail, and that, how many years is a guy like this facing most likely? Like,
So it depends on the amount and their criminal history. Sale of fentanyl is a Class B felony.
They should get the maximum amount of time that it carries. Fentanyl is like playing Russian roulette. You don't know if you gonna hit this shit and you gonna die or not.
If someone told me something like that, I think I would stay away from it, right? I mean, Russian roulette. Am I the only one that's thinking that? Like, come on, bro. Russian roulette? No. I mean, is it just addicting like that?
6:30
Like,
a.m., the raid was
you don't
completed
care?
without a hitch.
I don't know how
Now the
that
rest of the
works,
house is
bro.
being searched. These people were wanted for selling fentanyl. I guess we've been doing this job covering the underworld long enough that I can say I've never met anyone that I would consider evil. I meet people that make really bad decisions. But you gotta draw a line in the sand. Like, is someone that sells a large quantity of fentanyl, are they evil or just a good person making bad choices? Like, what level of sympathy or grace do you give to somebody like that? It's easy.
My whole take behind that is like the same way you would look at a drug dealer on the street. You gotta look at Big Pharma. I mean, is Big Pharma evil, or are they just a corporation. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Because I guess it's the drug dealer's fault for supplying drugs. But then again, even if you're not supplying drugs, someone who's looking for drugs is just going to go somewhere else to supply it. So at that point, are you just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you just looking out for your family? I don't know if you're evil per se. Maybe just, maybe making bad choice. Well, I mean, definitely a bad choice, but you got to think about what's good and bad. Like, maybe in his eyes, well, I can't get a job. I have a rap sheet. I have a record. I can't clock in anywhere. Instead of robbing, stealing, and killing, I'll sell drugs. And I won't sell drugs to anyone who doesn't want it. So, am I doing something bad, or am I just providing for my family? So, it's a different way to look at it, for real.
From the outsider, like, oh, the guy just selling drugs to pay his rent. Like, I don't think it's right, but I get it. Okay,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
one
Yeah.
level. Another is, she just sold a dose that killed my brother. Like, now it's personal. Like, how many bodies are
But I
attached
mean,
to this
how do you
fentanyl
know?
game? And then, you know, when everything is said and
Unless
done,
you're
how
the
much of this just
one
has to do with
chopping
poverty
it up
and rough
or
situations.
cooking it
We were
or
in Texas prison recently.
turning it
Not one of
into
those
this
guys
killer,
came from
unless
an upper middle
fentanyl
class
by
home
itself
with 2 parents in the household.
is a
Show of
killer,
hands,
but
who would say they grew up in poverty?
I think the hospital uses fentanyl.
Show of hands,
So
how many of you had your
that's
father
just,
in your life growing up as a kid?
and right doses, I guess,
How
is
many
good. I
did?
don't know. I'm just saying, unless someone
Certainly the job of
is
a drug
making
dealer has
the
been
killer drug
popularized,
and
has
knows
been
it's gonna do that,
glamorized
then
in hip
I
hop
can
and
see it
rap.
being
Like the
personal.
hustler
But
is the guy that
again,
people look up to in a
this
community.
is its
And is
own
that because
business, so I
rap
don't
made
think
it cooler because
you're
depending
gonna
on what
look
area
out
you're
to
from,
kill
that might be the
someone
one
because
guy
you
with
want them
some
to
sort
come
of
back. So
resources.
I don't
I don't
know
know.
whose fault it
If
would
I'm
be
treating
there.
everyone like I'm an older brother and I could give them advice, I don't think I would tell them to do anything that can result in years behind bars.
No
One
rap.
amount of money is worth time in prison. Like, even if
No
someone said, I'll
rap.
give you $1 million, but you gotta go away for 10 years. No. I wouldn't take $1 million for 1 year.
Yeah, I can't get off.
Some of the
that,
law
bro.
enforcement we
Boy,
spoke
I
to
be
were
looking at
operating
jail dog.
undercover, and for this reason, we had to blur their face for their interviews. For the average guy in the
Shaking.
streets out there, can you remind them how much of a bad idea having a switch on you is?
Ooh, look at that AR,
Automatic
dog.
pistol, which is an ATF violation, which is a federal crime. You know, and once we do our
switchy.
job, what the actual prosecutors do with it is kind of up to them. The other big
Cut
problem
the
we're seeing
lights
right now,
on and
man,
off
that,
is the
you know,
only time I
rapid
use a
people
switch.
put in jail
No
for
cap.
serious violent
No
crimes,
cap.
and they're getting out, you know, in a day or two.
Like murder?
I thought
Murder, it's all in
I
the news
thought
right now. Memphis,
switches-
man, they're released, they're ROR
I thought
guys on
switches-
first degree murder charges.
What?
Yeah,
it's an
oh, yeah.
automatic
It's
10
in the
years
news.
or
Because
something.
it's
I thought you're
innocent till
cooked
proven
if you get
guilty,
caught
or
with
like
that.
what's the rationale for that?
Their rationale, I think, is that they're like, well, you know, you're innocent until proven guilty. And then they're like, well, this person they arrested doesn't have a job, and they live at home with their mother, or whatever. And I understand a little bit of that. I can empathize a little bit, but when it's a violent felony, bro, and the other thing is, you're right, it is innocent to proven guilty, but law enforcement, I've been doing this for 18 years, man, and law enforcement, in my
Jeez.
opinion, we
This
don't
guy
put
looks
charges
fit,
like
too. What he be
aggravated
doing?
assault,
Not
aggravated
more
robbery,
push-ups than
murder.
me.
We don't put those charges.
I can answer that
Just
easy.
a little bit of evidence to make it probable, right? Probable.
I'm probably one of the
It
strongest
is-
men
it
on
is
earth,
hard
honestly.
evidence,
And
man,
that's
because
not even,
I don't
you know
wanna
what I'm saying? That's not
give
even
up
tooting my own
enough
horn.
doubt.
You know what
We're
I'm
not
saying?
gonna arrest somebody
Like, when
on
I go to the
charges
bench,
like
I'm
that.
telling you, like,
We're
I gotta
friendly.
call in
We're
advance
friendly.
before I go lift because they say, hey, all right, you're gonna take all the weight. Let's just give you all the weight because, you know, no one else can work at it if you come. So I normally get to the gym at like 4 a.m. No
Right
one
now,
else
the
is there.
people I'm most afraid of are typically like the 15-year-olds.
Like, I gotta bring my
This
own
is Steve
bar,
Morley,
too.
the
I
district
wish I
attorney
could-
of Shelby
I
County.
wish I could
He and
pull
his
up my
team of
bar. For some
110
reason, I can't
prosecutors
find
set
it,
the
but
tone for
I
how
bring my
crime is
own
fought in
bar
Memphis, the most dangerous
because
city in
anytime I go
America.
to the
Some
gym,
in the city
the
praise
bar
him for things
breaks
like
in
increasing
half
funding for the
'cause I
homeless
put
and
so much
ending
weight
the
on it.
illegal
So my
practice
bar
of 48-hour holds
reinforced
of suspects
16
without
different
probable
times,
cause. But
and I
others,
tested
including
it.
some of the cops we
So when I
spoke
go,
to,
it
thought
just
he was
has a
soft on
slight
crime
bend.
and deserved blame for some of the lawlessness in the city. This is what he had to say. Let's dive more into the juveniles, because what I've noticed in traveling the country and being in some of the craziest areas is it's the younger kids, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids that you sometimes have to be the
13, 14, 15, 16 is prime crash out ages. Prime crash out ages. You got to really watch who you hanging around, who your kids are hanging around those ages, because that's when the troubled adolescent, it's a real thing. Prime. They get hot. You gotta get them while they hot.
most afraid of.
Put a little
How do
straightening.
you
curb them, but also not just give them a free pass to get out tomorrow and do it again?
There are two particular types of crimes here in Shelby County that we're really concerned about with under 18 crime. One is car break-ins and the other is car thefts. One of the things we're doing to address that problem is we've set up in our office something called the CARS unit in our juvenile court team. And the idea is that the goal is to try to intervene early on where these under 18, but these kids are committing a nonviolent car break-in or a nonviolent car theft. We're trying to intervene before they graduate on to more serious crimes. By the time they come to us, they're already down the wrong path, right? What we really want to do is intervene more upstream, earlier in their lives, where it can be more effective.
The people that are doing the killing, especially the young guys, like what is the psychological profile that it seems like there's been such a loss of value in life?
Oh, that's what I was about to say. I heard if you break into a car, well, I heard when those teens break into cars, they're out of jail like the next day because like there's no type of
impulse control issues.
Very much
consequence for it.
That's why you're seeing most of
But
these
that was in
people
Milwaukee,
teens that are
whatever city the
committing
Kia Boys in, that's in that city or state.
For whatever reason, I don't think they understand the ramifications and the depth of what they're doing.
Do you think the killer is celebrated?
Look at that AR,
And so-and-so
bro. What
got two
kind
bodies,
is
he got
that?
3 bodies. Whatever. That's how they look at it. It just continues, man.
So for someone that says like, wow, man, people are in tough situations, poverty.
Bullshit. You're making excuses, man. Because
facts.
you can say it's because they come from, an environment that doesn't give them chances. That's bullshit, man. I don't want to hear that. It's still the United States of America, man. If you make the decision to make your life better, you can make your life better.
What's
That
going
is
through
a
your head
fact.
right
That
now?
is a fact. So
I'm just glad everybody's safe.
everybody got a choice. You can make your.
We're
you can
safe,
make a
bad
choice.
guys are safe, nobody got hurt, so that's a good day.
God
And
gave
of
us
course,
free will.
We found what we were looking for, so that's an even better day.
Were there any weapons found?
No weapons, surprisingly.
You got free
How
will.
often do you
so
find a switch when it comes
right
to
now,
a
if I
fentanyl
want
bust?
to
Switches are
jump
all
out my window right now, I could do that.
The external switches, now they
You
got
don't.
internal
You
switches
don't
too,
realize how much
which are
free
harder
will you have
to
until
get
you
to break
think of
the gun
something
down
that
and
you
find
could do.
Over the course of
And
your
be like,
career,
well,
how
what's stopping
many
me from
raids,
doing it?
busts do you think you've gone on?
Oh, Jesus. Well over 1,000. I've been in
1,000?
law enforcement 26 years, full-time dope and gangs for 21 years. I do anywhere from 1 to 6 a week.
He doesn't
That's
have
a lot
any type
math
of
this early in
vest
the
on.
morning.
Does it feel like you have a wild job?
You see, this is what I'm telling you. I can't be a cop, even as the director, with no vest, no helmet, nothing. I'm talking about. You would think I'm part of the hazmat. I'm talking about vest here, whatever, bulletproof here. The helmet's not enough. I need a face piece. My back needs to be covered. I need to build something for my thighs. Every inch of my body, I need to be putting on a suit like Iron Man. I'm talking about every piece of vital organ. Not even a vital organ. I want my fingers bulletproof. I'm not taking any chances. This guy is
It used
crazy.
to. It's kind of become the norm for me now. I mean, it's
Oh,
still,
he got his
I still love
gloves?
it. It's still exciting, and it's still a community service.
Medical gloves at that. That's for that fit. That fit. You know what I'm saying?
How rough is this immediate area that we're in right now?
If it wasn't raining, we'd have heard 10 gunshots.
So rain almost helped the operation.
It get down like that?
Rain helped keep us safe, absolutely.
The
There wasn't any
rain
lookouts, there wasn't
keeps y'all
anybody out.
safe?
So we're going to go ahead and process the evidence, count the money, do some field tests on the narcotics that we seized, and start the process that nobody wants, and that's the paperwork.
All right, guys, we'll see you at
I heard
headquarters.
that paperwork be a good while too. A daunting task.
You've been doing this for 26 years. How have the last handful of years been different? Or what have you noticed about these last handful of years?
So back when interdiction first became a thing, back in I'd say the 90s, it was pretty much trunk loads. You know, they throw it in the trunk and they take it wherever. So when you stop that car and you pop that trunk, or you look in that bag in the back seat, it was full of drugs. You know.
Yeah.
Nowadays, cartels have evolved. They hire people specifically to try to find ways to hide the drugs.
Now, do
Some of them
Memphis
boys put them
gangs
things in the
come in
wheel
contact with the
well.
cartels?
Them
Sure.
boys getting
Yeah, absolutely.
creative
Do you
with
think
it.
the Vice Lords, the Crips, the GDs, that they are doing in some way business with cartels?
Sure, absolutely. Everybody is, if you think about it. I mean, even the end user is indirectly doing business with the cartel.
How's the game changed in the last couple of years?
Oh, it's constantly evolving. I mean, every day you wake up, it's something new. It's a different way of hiding. It's a different way of selling. It's a different terminology. It's a different drug.
As
I
we
mean,
were
it's
sitting in
just
Johnny's
evolution.
office, the interrogation
It's like
of the
everything else,
suspects was
everything
happening in the room
evolves.
next door, so I peeked around the corner to see if I could hear how it was going. I tried to imagine how the suspects were feeling, knowing that if found guilty, they faced years of their life in prison behind bars. Is there any misconception about your line of work that you'd like to educate the public on?
There's a difference in opinion, which is what makes America America. Everybody has their own opinions. Some people think, oh, the war on drugs, we're never going to win, and we should leave these people alone, let them do what they do. And
Technically, you can't win the war on drugs when you have pharmaceutical companies. I mean, pharmaceutical companies use drugs. Same drugs that these guys are locking these guys up for these 10 and 20 years or whatever. It's in your pharmaceutical drugs. Your over-the-counter medication, your prescribed medication. I mean, you're getting traces of cocaine or methamphetamine, things like that. You're getting these traces inside of these pills. The only reason, honestly, and this is a hot take for me, the only reason why I think it's illegal for people to sell it on the street is because the government can't make money from it. That's honestly that's what I think about it. And it could be a hot take, it could be right, could be wrong, but that's how I see it, because all these other things, all of these drugs that these guys are getting locked up for is in your medication. So yeah, that's what I don't get.
they're not bothering anybody but themselves. Some people think they ought to be locked up and the key thrown away for the rest of their life.
Insane.
Personally, I'm somewhere in the middle there. I think if we could help somebody and we can rehabilitate them,
I don't think,
there
bro.
that,
And the thing is, I don't think people understand like the rest of their life. Like, people will be like, "Oh well, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime." Yeah, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. I mean, yeah, I understand that. Don't do the crime. You can't do the time. But this time, like 30 years, bro, like that's a long time. Like, you gotta realize these little small incidents, well, not even small, but even like, say you have road rage, right? You gotta realize that most people locked up right now are locked up because of a situation that took like 10 seconds, bro. Like, say a road rage incident where someone's screaming, yelling, and then it goes left, they shoot them, they die. Now you're in jail for life. You got to think about it. Was it worth it? Like, sometimes you got to be slow to anger. You got to be slow to react to things. That's how I think you should live your life. I mean, if you're in these situations and you're a hothead, I feel like your main goal of 2025 is to be able to react to things, slow down. Don't be so quick to jump on something, because 2 seconds could cost you a long time. There's been people in prison longer than I have been alive. Like, and I don't even think all of them are guilty for real, but
probably need to be locked up and the key thrown away. And that's those evil people that I've stared in the face over the years.
now there are some evil people that should be locked up for a long time.
I've had them go from 30 seconds to 4 hours.
When people are in the interrogation room, what percentage of them talk and give up information?
So the majority will talk and will give up some amount of information, and then it doesn't mean that they cooperate. This year alone, we've seized over
You
a ton
cooperated
of
with the
narcotics
police.
since January 1.
What percentage of that is non-weed tonnage?
Oh, the majority of it's weed.
Do you ever feel like when you bust a house for weed, and you're like, come on, it's weed?
Yes and no. The majority of that came off the interdiction unit, off the interstate. It was coming out of California or Colorado, places like that, coming across. Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a big one now. You were speaking earlier about the Chinese marijuana industry, and Oklahoma's ground zero for that.
This person here is trying to make the decisions that would determine how many years of their life will be spent behind bars. Let's tell you more about that process. Let's talk about the odds these suspects are facing. If the feds were involved in the raid, the conviction rate in Fed cases is over 95%.
Yeah, bro,
if it's
it's
just
like
the county involved, their
98%,
chances are decently
bro.
better in fighting the charge. However, one thing worth noting is that most of these cases never make it to court. The vast majority result in plea deals. And due to the heavy caseload many courts face, plea deals with reduced sentences are often offered to promote cooperation and accelerate the legal process. Another tactic those charged can expect is an attempt by law enforcement to turn them into confidential informants in exchange for a heavily reduced sentence. If they give away key evidence, this information can be used to obtain a warrant to raid the next dealer in the chain. The flip side of this, of course, is the extreme danger of being found out to be a snitch.
All right, we're going to walk over here. We're going to start going through all the evidence that we recovered from the house. We'll do some field tests. We got to count the money and go through everything.
Count the money.
What is
Count
the
the
true
money
economic
For
opportunity
real.
of doing this? Someone running a dope house, what type of money are they making monthly?
Roughly, I'm guessing $15,000.
And do a
$15,000
civil
a month. $15,000 a month. Let's see, maybe 150,000 a year. Maybe 160, 170. Maybe 170,000 a year. My final guess. Alexa, how much is $15,000 a month in 1 year?
From Calculat.io. $15,000 per year divided by 12 months / year equals approximately $1,250 per month. By the way, you have a new notification.
That's not
Do you
what I
want to
meant.
hear it?
No. I don't want to hear it.
By the way, you have a new notification. Do you want to hear it?
No, I'm okay. Alexa, what's 15 times 12?
15 times 12 is 180.
See, 180? 180?
Picture laws, is that money now your squad's?
So to speak. There's a whole lot of paperwork.
180,000? These guys are going to jail for 10 years for $180,000 a year. Not worth it. Not worth it. For someone to even take the risk, like someone like myself, you know what I'm saying? For me to even do something close, if I was in their position, gotta be north of $1 million. At least. Come on, that's not even... You might as well get a job at that. Come on, man.
A whole lot of hearings that go along with that. We can't just take your money. We can't just say, oh, it's drug money.
Oh, but it's not taxed.
Civil forfeiture is the highly controversial practice in which law enforcement can seize the property of someone suspected of a crime. But the thing is, the suspect doesn't even need to be officially charged with the crime for the property to be taken. The most commonly seized assets include cars, cash, guns, and in some cases even the house of the suspect. Once approved by the courts, the police are then allowed to keep or sell these assets. And many agencies, including Johnny's, fund themselves through this method. And to give perspective of how much this happens, the federal government has pocketed nearly $69 billion through civil forfeiture in the last 20 years.
I need to make some phone calls, get some people locked up.
This is a way to keep criminal organizations from getting too powerful by hampering their resources, while opponents of civil forfeiture think this is essentially a...
Imagine they offer a cash reward to get someone locked up. You call them, you get them locked up, they give you the cash reward, say it's $10,000. Then they post that person's house on an auction, and you win it for $10,000. Come on, man. Stay with me now. Stay with me.
law enforcement to commit legalized theft and is therefore a major violation of civil rights. Here's my lawyer's take on the subject.
One, the police can come in and take things that they don't know where they came from. Are they fruits of crime? Were they bought with illicit proceeds? Or are they merely someone's actual stuff and cash? And there's been terrible instances where, imagine, the kid is selling marijuana out of his bedroom, small amounts. But the government will come after the parents and go after their car or even their house in some circumstances and say, well, it was used in maintaining a drug place, and so we're going to seize that asset. We see this a lot with people who don't trust banks. Imagine someone who's just trying to gather a bunch of money and go do something, buy a piece of property,
Well, listen, if you don't trust banks, I don't think having cash on hand is the best thing to do it. If you don't trust banks, just put it in a high yield savings or put it in a hold on. What can you put it? Put it in some dividends. Make some dividends. Put it in something. Don't just have cash on hand. Like, I mean, you get robbed. People get robbed for that.
Are maybe save for their own house or their kids' college education. So they're squirreling
Honestly, you
away
don't even
money,
need that much to get a house anyway.
Under their mattress,
I bought a house with
and please come in for some
$7,000
related or unrelated reason.
Close to 10.
And they grab all that money.
And I got a
What's
check
that
back from
average
closing
citizen
because I
going to
overpaid.
do against all the government agents and all their lawyers and all the bureaucracy that's built up to take those assets?
I'm curious to hear in the comments what your take on civil forfeiture is. In your professional opinion, what is the quality of the herb, the marijuana that we have on the table right now?
Probably pretty good. Smells more like medicinal.
Could I offer my professional opinion?
Sure.
Did you ask them what the strain of this might be?
Yeah, they didn't know.
Is that any of that purple Urkel?
Yeah,
Would a raid have been organized just for this amount of weed?
No. It would have taken pounds and pounds for us to have even thought about it.
Tell me about the fake Perk 30s that's been coming up in the
yurts.
streets.
Oh, God. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. And they're so easy to tell. Real Perk 30s are not as plentiful as the fake Perk 30s that are coming out. And so we'll double count all this, but these are in $1,000 stacks. So if they're all correct, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Just this one stack right here is going to be $8 grand. Shay, on that tablet right there, 5,000 from the third drawer, room 3.
They don't have a money counter?
So there's another 1,300 from the bedroom drawer. Red tote in the closet, $8 grand. $1,000 bundles, $1,000 bundles. What's your guess over there, guys?
18,000. I'm gonna go with 16,700.
18,121.
I wanted a taste of what
Come on,
undercover
Tommy.
work
You
was
should've been
like,
a little-
so Johnny
little
took us
better
to
than
an
that,
area
dog.
with sketchy motels that was known for being a crime hotspot. Driving around in Johnny's car that looked like the Fedmobile, we would soon find out that the locals were not happy to see us. So when you're navigating the hotspot, what are you thinking? What's going through your head?
Well, I mean, you're looking for what's out of the ordinary. So you have
So
this
many
crew
people
walking over
have
here.
this type of cash on hand.
Something
and
looks
just
like it's
don't do
happening.
the right thing.
Something's going on.
Like
So
$20,000.
she leaned in the window.
You have $20,000, right? Have $20,000. With your $20,000, you go to the SBA. SBA will give you $200,000 for your $20,000. All you paying is 10%. $200,000. You go on Biz Buy Sell, or LoopNet, or even private business owner for sale, stuff like that. You find a business that costs $200,000. For $200,000, you could probably buy a business that's cash flowing maybe $80,000 to $100,000. You buy that, now you got $100,000 a year, every year, for the rest of your life until you sell it. But and then you can even get deeper than that. You could go in there, do some renovations, automate the reviews, automate everything else. Now this is a hands-free business that's generating $100,000, maybe even more after everything you did. Maybe let's say you get 150 from it. That's cash flow, by the way. Cash flow, not even gross revenue. That's your net. .net. You know what I'm saying? You do that, rinse and repeat. Why even, like, I feel like if you're gonna do this, you gotta have out plan, and your way out should be businesses. I mean, if you're gonna make this amount of cash up front, invest it in something. Don't make the cash just to buy flashy clothes. The flashy clothes will come. Please, Papa, please, como say, please.
She disappeared. Either he could have sold to her and she's going up to use, or he's buying and she went up to get the product.
Is this a circumstance where the ant leads to the queen?
Yeah, I mean, you take it as far as you can. Our goal is to move up. So we get the user with,
How
a
long
tenth
you
of a
been
gram
married?
or a quarter gram or half a gram. We flip them to their dealer. We get them, we flip them to their supplier, to their mid-level supplier.
So it's a game of dominoes in a way.
It is. See, that's occupied. There's a guy in the driver's seat backed in right there. He's not going into the hotel. He's been approached at least by one street person. She could have bought from him a while ago. Went maybe put it up in a room for later.
What kind of
Have you had any close
unmarked
calls
car that
doing
they're riding
undercover
in?
work?
Yeah, I've had a few. Went through the neighborhood. Ladies
that
walking
thing tough.
through the hood and waved me down, so I stopped. And she tried to sell me some crack. 2 different ways. 2 different kinds
Both
of crack.
types
I
of
guess
crack,
you could
huh?
say. Yeah.
Damn, you must have looked like a good
That
customer.
boy got
And
a 2 for 1.
that turned into me trying to arrest her. That turned into her fighting, and then that turned into her pimp coming out and fighting with her against me. So I was 2-on-1 for about 6 or 7 minutes. This is the days before
6 or 7
television.
minutes could get
Oh,
crazy.
the guy that was
Yeah, I watched him. And
the guy behind us was their dealer, right? Potentially.
potentially. That's cool. Yeah, he's filming the car. But
What is that? Glock 19?
This sketchy potential criminal reverse Uno'd us. You see, instead of Johnny pursuing him, he began pursuing us in an aggressive manner. Folks, in the shadowy underworld, the laws of the jungle apply, and territory can be fought over fiercely, and apparently we were not welcome here.
oh, he'll be fine.
He's trying to get up on the director of drug task force car.
Let's see if he follows me in here. If he does, yeah, I didn't think he was.
You gonna call the boys on him?
No, I was fixing to stop him.
I was fixing to stop him.
He's still sitting there?
He from the south.
Oh, yeah, he's moving on now. Yeah, I was a little concerned about getting boxed in, that's why. That's the kind of stuff right there. I mean, that's in every neighborhood. Like, you come into a neighborhood, you're not known in that neighborhood, you're not welcome in that neighborhood. They're going to be coming up on you, they're going to stop you, they're going to want to know what you're doing there. And that's the part of, the undercover risk.
Man, this is a job that puts hair on your chest, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah, I tried doing it for
grow a big
23
beard.
years.
Absolute
Tom.
pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you,
My
man.
pleasure. Thank you.
Folks, stay in school. Don't do drugs, except for the ones that he can't find. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Tommy! W video. I'm gonna leave the link to the original video down in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's your boy Bands. Peace.